Hey, welcome to Slow Builds. So, over the years, I've rebuilt my productivity system more times than I can count. And every time I'm convinced this is the one. It has that New Year's resolution feeling, new year, new you. You're excited, you're motivated, certain this time will be different. It feels clean, it feels simple. Finally, you have something manageable that you know you can stick to. You think, I figured this out. And you know what? For a while it works. And some things do stick. And I find the ones that do stick are the ones like you're doing with other people. So it's a group of you and you don't want to be the one not doing it. If there's a money motivation involved, so productivity systems, one could be work. If you don't do it, you don't get paid. Others might be medical reasons. Maybe you have a heart condition or high cholesterol or something where you need to do this, otherwise it's going to have drastic outcome. And sometimes you just have no choice. Like it's something that has to be done by a certain time and there's nothing else you can do about it. But let's be honest, most of the time it fades. Not all at once. I find it fades slowly until one day, like you just realize you're just not doing it anymore. And I've fallen for this so many times. I've failed pretty much at all the ones that I've set up, and there's only a few that I've succeeded at. And some I've only completed because the end of the year is approaching, so like you have it on your resolution list and you know like, okay, well, I got 3 months left, I think I can knock this out, and you just grind through it just so you can check that box, say at least finish one New Year's resolution. I accomplished that, because that's the feeling that everybody wants. And over the years, like I've done a ton of different systems in this space, whether it be through work or personal. And the longest one I've done would be Getting Things Done by David Allen. And then we only really was forced into that by my coworker, co-founder, I guess, at that point. And that's what we stuck to, and we followed it because it's what he followed, and so we all had to follow it. So it was more work rather than me wanting to do it. And we've used Basecamp, I've used Monday, email labels, old school notebooks, just writing stuff down. I wasn't casually experimenting with this stuff. I believe, and I still believe in this stuff. Like I believe in productivity systems. They're built for a reason, and when you follow them, they work. But still, most of them, I find it really is around month 3 when there's no dramatic reason why they fail. It's just more or less you quietly abandon them. You just kind of like stop using it. And there's always that moment at the beginning when you're building it. So you rebuilt everything, you cleaned up your tools, you archive old tasks, you create fresh boards, maybe even new tags, and you feel empowered, like you finally figured it out. You look at the system and think, this is clean, this is manageable, this is me now, this is the new me, this is how I'm going to get things done and not feel stuck. And if you're like me, you think you can package it up and sell it. It's like, this is so good, no one's ever thought of this before. Well, someone's thought of everything. So, and for a few weeks, like that's why you feel you're top of the world. I'm knocking through my to-do list, I'm getting everything checked off, you're consistent with it, you're checking it every single day. But then all of a sudden life shifts a little. Nothing crazy, but just enough that all of a sudden, like at work is extra busy that week, and you got extra meetings, you got extra things you got to knock out, deadlines, some extra family stuff comes up, you got to go on a tournament for the weekend, you got to pick up after practice, you got to help out with some extra homework, and on top of that, just long days, they just add up and you're tired. So you start skipping a day of checking in on your to-dos, your productivity list, Then you skip another day, and suddenly you don't want to open the system. Open that system to go look at your next do or check some stuff off just feels like work. Not because it's hard, the tasks aren't hard, but because the system itself all of a sudden feels crazy heavy. It feels like a burden. And just to think about opening your system, to go in to see what's on the list and what you can check off, it's almost like a dread, because you know, like, odds are there's nothing I can check off, so why am I even going to look? That's the worst part there is. And like, really, all you're trying to do is get stuff done. But now doing the thing that requires doing something now all of a sudden requires you to open a system to do the system just to do the thing. And it's something, it could be anything, like, it doesn't even matter. And so, like, I kind of went off script there a little bit, but it's like all you wanted to do was just check the air in the tires. You wanted to go clean the treadmill. Like, it's not that you wanted to do anything big, it's just simple stuff, but the burden of having to open the system is what throws you off. And I convinced myself a little while ago, I figured this out. I got the perfect system. I'm going to use Apple Reminders and Apple Notes. Super simple. I love Apple. All my app devices are Apple. And I'm like, I can do this. This is clean. This is easy. And it's so convenient for me because I use Apple anyway. So you start organizing the tags, the smart lists, the timed reminders. You're linking the notes to the reminders. You know, you feel you're on top of the world. This is super efficient. This is part of my daily life anyway. And then, like I said, that random one pops up and you freeze. You open up the to-do list, you open up your reminders, and it's like, where do I put it? Like, does this thing need a new tag? Is this thing scheduled? And then when you figure that one out, it's like, well, now I got to go look at all the other ones. Like, do I need to update all my other things? Do I need to change everything? Like, all I wanted to do was get down, clean my treadmill. All I wanted to do was go clean the shower. I just wanted to check the air in my tires. But it's like, it's just an endless loop of fixing the system so it works for you. And so fixing the system becomes the number one to do every day. And that sucks. It makes you not want to do it. And it doesn't make any sense why we put that pressure on ourselves just to get stuff done, and we feel we have to use systems. And so the pattern I find with failing is, what's interesting is there's never a dramatic, like, quitting a system. You never delete the app unless you're paying for it and you realize, I don't want to pay for this anymore. You don't make a big decision. You don't announce, like, I'm done with this. I'm finished with it. You started with good intentions. You believed in it. You just slowly stopped opening it. And the longer you stayed away, the harder it feels to go back. Like, you're just avoiding the system at that point, because now there's a backlog. There's unreviewed tasks. There's missed check-ins. There's missed appointments. And like, so you just don't even want to do it anymore. And that's when you start feeling guilty about avoiding it. And so you try to use it again, just because, not because it's helping you, but because you feel you made a promise to yourself, like you owe it something. And that's when it changes. The system starts to feel like it has a life of its own, like it's judging you, it's keeping score of you. And now, instead of helping you think clearly, it's just another source of pressure. And that's when you really start avoiding it and just not even looking at it anymore, not adding new things, not updating it, because it's not worth the extra pressure in your life. It's just one more thing to do. And I think that's the part I missed for so many years. Most productivity systems don't actually run on structure. They run on motivation, that new feeling that I'm getting my life together. And motivation is great until it isn't, because the second the newness wears off, so does the fuel. And then you find out what the system is really made of. Like, take the Apple Notes reminders and to-dos that I had set up. And at the start, everything felt clean. I'm tagging it, I'm setting timers. I'm like, okay, I figured this out. Everything's working for me. But once that novelty wears off, or I'm just too tired to go check it, or you don't forget about it because it's always there nagging on you. And now every task becomes a decision. Like, what do I tag it as? Does it need a time? Does it need a schedule? Is it someday? Does it need a note? And that's the moment the system isn't helping me do the tasks anymore. It's asking me to be motivated enough to manage the system, to manage my to-dos. If it only works when I feel on, it's not a durable system. It's just a good mood with a dashboard. And that's why, in my mind, month 3 matters. 1 month is the novelty of the system. You feel great, it's all new. Month 2 is momentum. You feel the progression change. You're seeing the things being checked up. But then month 3 sneaks in. And that's the real test. Does it still work when I'm bored? Does it still work if it's messy? If I'm not feeling it and the motivation drops away? The only key thing that I find that keeps a system alive is the design. And by design, what I mean is, does it make starting easy? Does it survive those missed days, those tired days? Does it work when I barely have the energy to do it? Or does it work when I don't use it all the time on a regular basis? If the answer is no, then it's not really a system. It's just motivation with extra steps. It's something to say, hey, I use this. This is how I get through my stuff. So what I found actually survives for me and allows me to get things done are, first off, putting things places I know I'm going to look. That's the easiest way to say it. I find there's no perfect system for everybody. People write books about the ones that they do. People try to follow them, and that's perfect. Obviously, things like work, like I said, we use Jira, we use Basecamp, Monday. Those things have a place, and they work because you're on projects, you're on deadlines, and you just have to knock them off to consider things finished, and that is perfect. But for me, I find, so take email. So the way I use email is, if it's important and I can't get to it right now, I'll leave it on read because I know I'm going to check my email all the time. So if it's an unread email, then fine. I know I'm going to look at it because it's on read. You have 1 unread message, 2 unread messages. So I know I'll get to it. Now, if it sits untouched and I don't open it for like a week, few days, whatever it may be, if that much time passed and there's been no follow-ups from someone else, or I'll just move it to the trash because obviously it wasn't that urgent for me. I use reminders. Just for personal stuff, I review it once or twice a week. So I know usually once or twice a week I'm going to open up Apple Reminders and I'm going to see what's in there. And that's going to let me, I put stuff there that is not completely urgent, but I know I have it somewhere. And then for calendars, I'm famous for not making meetings. So what I do with those is, because I never check my calendar, but what I do is I make sure I have notifications set on. 1 day before, like 4 hours before, 10 minutes before, I'll get an email and I'll get a notification on my phone or laptop or whatever I'm on, just to ping me, say, hey, don't forget about this. So I'm not trying to build the perfect system there. I'm just trying to put things in places I trust. I know my mind is going to remember to go there, or I already go there just by habit. And I want things that ping me, they notify me. And that's when this kind of clicks. In my mind, the goal of getting things done and putting things into lists and things like that are not, it's never for the organization of it. For me, it's the relief, like the freedom that it brings. That's the part I didn't understand this whole time. And I know I've read it in a book, but what I find is when something lives in your head, it doesn't just sit there. It's constant looping. It randomly pops into your head. You could be driving down the road and it's like, oh, there it is. When you're trying to relax, you're watching TV and it's like, don't forget to do this. Did I do that? Is there something on my list I'm supposed to remember? And my wife's famous for this. My wife's organization skills is paper towels. She takes paper towels and she writes on them with a Sharpie and she sticks them on the fridge, or she'll put them on the front door. She'll put them. It's like where people in movies and stuff, they write notes on the mirror because they know they're gonna look in the mirror every morning. So my wife puts these little notes all over where she knows she's gonna look, and she'll put them in strategic places where she knows if it's time sensitive. She knows she's gonna look there before 8 in the morning or before 6 in the evening, just so it's there. So like, she sort of takes it out of her mind, but if you don't get it out of your mind, it's like low grade stress. It's not dramatic stress. It's not like end of the world stuff, but it's just constant noise in your head. And it does become exhausting, especially when it adds up and you have a lot of things that you got to try to remember, a lot of to-dos. Christmas time's a big time for that. Planning for a vacation's a big one for that. But when you put that somewhere you trust, and you know in your mind that you're going to look there, then that thing, and as soon as you put it there, your mind knows, I put it into a place that I know I'm going to check, so I don't need to remember this anymore. And it's not because it's done. It's just because it's in that place that you are going to go check it. So that takes it out of your brain. You stop carrying it around. And I find that it frees up space in my brain. It actually gives you time. Then you can focus on, you can think about different things. You can build. You become more creative. It allows the focus on one thing without 10 other unfinished things running around in your head to remind you and interrupting your train of thoughts. And to me, that's the real win. It's not productivity points, it's not optimizations, it's just a never-ending loop of don't forget, remember this, did you do this? So that's gone. Like, that removes from your head and gives you the space and the freedom to think about other things, to plan other stuff, to not worry. That's a big one. And honestly, this is also why I'm building AI systems right now, or trying to learn AI. And by trying to learn AI, I want AI to help me build things better. So I wanted to automate a lot of the things in my coding life, on my personal projects, and I want to bring it to work once I figure it out. But like writing the documentation, creating the tests and running them, doing the merges and doing the deploy management, and all the basic heavy stuff and all the necessary stuff. But it's mentally heavy. And to think like, okay, well, I wrote this new feature and I got to write a bunch of tests for it now, or I need to go document that now. Well, if it's all standard stuff, it works the same way, follows the same structure. My idea is, well, I'm going to build a bunch of AI agents that are tracking these things and doing them for me. And then all I have to do is review it. And allows me then to focus on the features. I get to focus on different use cases. I get to actually open my brain and spend time thinking about the products and the tools that I want to use and make things better, rather than always constantly nagging at the back of my brain, well, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that, you got to add this in. So it gets things out of my head and frees up that space. And the other shift that happened to me was, I used to love the pressure. So in university, if we had a big assignment, a big project that was coming up, I would leave it for last minute. I'd pull all-nighters. Even at work, I would do it at work. Because in my head, I always knew kind of how long it would take me to do something. So instead of me just doing it right away, I would leave it to the last minute. Okay, well, I know it's going to take me 4 hours, so around 6 hours left, I'll start, just in case something happens. And then when you get that done and you actually finish it and it works, within that little tight window that you left yourself, you feel like a winner. You feel sharp. You feel like I pulled that off. No one else can do this as good as me. There's a big rush to that. And I used to think that's the best way I work. That's why most times I worked at night. I would spend all day doing nothing, and then I'd work all through the nights. When I wake up in the morning, there it is. But it's not discipline, it was adrenaline. And that's not sustainable. And then after that, once I realized I can't live like that, and I can't put my business or my colleagues or clients or even myself in that situation, because if I did fail, well, there could be big consequences for that. So then you start to go the other way and you start working on it. And then it became like, well, if I finish it early, I'm just going to get more work. There's no downtime. So you finish it, but you hold back. You delay the release. Not because you couldn't do it, but because finishing early just meant like there's extra work behind it. So it's like, well, instead of me leaving 6 hours to finish it, I'll leave 2 days. So if you got a week, I'll spend 3 days relaxing and then spend 2 or 3 days finishing it. But the problem with that is those 3 days of relaxing are not really relaxing. You're not, because you're still thinking about it. It's still in your mind. You're still planning it. You know you got to do it. So in my mind, it's like, just get it done. So I've taken the thing of I'd rather just finish it, clear it, and then you can take the time to relax for real. And that goes a little bit away from the to-do list, but it's part of the thing of getting things out of your mind, not leaving that hanging over your head, thinking about it. So let's bring this back to the beginning of why productivity systems fail. And most people feel bad about it. Like if you come out at the new year or you start a new system and you want to follow it, most people feel like if they don't finish it, they feel like they failed. But I don't believe that people are really failing at it. Maybe it wasn't discipline. Maybe it wasn't that you lack consistency. Maybe the system was just too fragile. Maybe it demanded like the best of you every single day because you had to stay on top of it. You had to check it off. You had to look at it. And real life isn't like that. Real life, you get tired, you get busy, there's messy weeks. Some days you don't have the energy. Things pop up. A system that only works when you're fully motivated and you're in it isn't built for real life. And I'm not anti-system. Like I said, at work, it's different. When you're at work, those systems are in place. They're project managements most times, and they have a purpose. And it's not a matter of following it. It's just, it's what it is. It's your job. So to me, that's not really a productivity tracking system. That's just what you have to do. So that's a little bit different. And there's usually a project manager who's on top of it for you. So they're the ones telling you what you need to do rather than you looking it up. And I believe in the systems. I just don't believe in I'm not into fragile systems. Ones that collapse the second your motivation dips. The ones that turn into that guilt machine where it's like, well, I didn't check it off. I didn't go do it. I need to go do it. I set it up, spent all this time. It's looking down at me saying, why aren't you finishing these tasks? It's just another reminder that makes you feel like you failed. I don't like ones that require you to be optimized to survive them. I'd rather build something that blends, something that works at 60%. I don't need it to work at 100%. It just has to be there. It has to survive those boring weeks. And because boring weeks are honestly most weeks. And the fact that you even feel like you need a system, that says something. The fact that you feel you need a system in place to help you work on your to-dos, to help you get things done, and to feel organized, that means you really care. It means you want to do better. It means you actually want to get those things done, and it means you're thinking about your life. And that's not lazy. Lazy people don't rebuild systems. Lazy people don't plan these things out. They just wake up and just go through their day. They don't reflect on what's working. They don't try again. And if you're here tweaking setups, starting over, trying to improve, you already have the right intentions. The issue isn't effort, it's architecture. So this channel isn't about optimization. It's not about squeezing more out of every single hour. It's about building things that survive, whether that's software, habits, money, systems, life, all of it. Not built for perfect weeks, built for real life, built for tired days, built for when motivation dips, goes low. And this is built for slow, honest, designed to bend instead of break. And mostly just seeing what actually survives past month 3, because that's the real test. Not how it feels at the start, but what's still standing when the novelty's gone.